and the civil service has been tasked to assist government in the formulation and implementation of government policies for the development of the country. Many have had cause to lament over the lackadaisical attitude of some civil servants and how this is affecting the service and in turn retrogressing the country's progress. Today, we are finding solutions to this old age problem, and I'm excited to be joined by Head of Civil Service and on what his office is doing to ensure a reversal of this trend. He's no other person, Evans. Dr. Evans Agri Dakum. It's been how many years? So long a time.
Can you imagine?
It's refreshing to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's refreshing to be here.
Great. I think that to put this conversation into perspective, let's first understand how bad the problem is. And of course, you've been in the academia, you've done a lot of research around all of this. How bad is the situation?
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and good morning to your viewers. As you are aware, we nations want to make progress, but the state is inanimate. The state will act through agencies, through institutions, through people like you, the media. And the civil service is one of the critical cardinal institutions of state, as you rightly indicated, charged with the responsibility of assisting the government of the day in the formulation and implementation of public policies program, which object then will seek to the national development effort. And so it's a huge responsibility. We have a mandate, as you indicated, which mandate is important for national development. We over the years, we've been trying very hard. If you look at the trajectories of this country, we are not doing badly, even though we have difficulties. We're not doing badly at all. If you look at the major indicators of development, we are way ahead of our peers. If you look at even the governance, the quality of governance, for instance, we are promoting good governance.
Okay.
Ghana is considered one of the, I would call it blue eye boy or girl within the international system, punching our way up as some of the critical actors. Even the quality of governance, we are almost always among the very first within the sub-region and even beyond. It doesn't mean that we need to be complacent. There are critical problems. We are facing very enthusiastic population, very sophisticated. The quality of service they want improved. We want to improve the dignity of the average Ghanaian. We want to make sure that people have access to healthcare, good education, good roads, investment climate must be there. The safety of our people is paramount because that is what really defines what the state is. At least guarantees of minimum security for your people. And so in all facets of life, there is not a single activity that you can think about in Ghana without some involvement of the civil service. Especially when it has to do, whether it's an oversight responsibility or even a crafting of a policy. Because there's intent, policies, government activities and intentions and what is it that government want to do. Because normally we define policy as what government decide to do or not to do. All these things will find expression in public policies and programs. Which policies, which programs really are really assisted by the civil service generally. It's not a hopeless situation. I'm an Afro-optimist. If we have come this far, and now you know that in this country, look at our life expectancies has improved tremendously. We have increased access to healthcare, health education. We have a number of roads, access to even electricity, access to water, among others. There are more women educated in this country today than ever before in the history of this country. These actually speak to the fact that the state hasn't really reneged on its obligation. And if the state hasn't reneged, what is it that has to be done? I mean, people will have cause to complain because, as I said, there's always room for improvement, which improvement we are committed to, because that is what will define our very existence. When you lose your existence, it's like a football match. If you don't have the ball, nobody tackles you. So people will tackle us because we have the ball and because our role is fundamental to the success of this country.
If we are making all this progress with this lackadaisical attitude that we talk about with the civil service, it means that if we up our game, we'll do more and we'll do better. I mean, what's the plan, for you as head of civil service to actually better the situation, if you like?
Right, a number of things. Well, it's true that maybe some may not have the same attitude. Attitude is everything. What we are doing is to build on what is it that we have met. How do we reconfigure the public bureaucracy to make it as vibrant as possible? So the human resource is important, the attitudes is important, the profile, what is it? So recruitment is important. Caliber of people who enter the service, what is their background? How capable are they? Those who are already in, do you have a continuous learning framework? So we're putting in place a continuous learning framework that will continue to enhance the capacity of these individuals to be able to deliver, for instance. We are encouraging our institutions to want to institute some incentive packages, with measures within the institutions, what I call institution-specific measures, to look at how we can incentivize our people to peak performance. Because as you are aware, if you pretend to be paying some people, then they'll be pretending to be working, for instance. So we are looking at that and what it is that we ought to do to improve upon people's morale. If morale is low, you can't expect that they will deliver. So we are dealing with morale issues. We are providing a lot more logistics, because when you deploy functions, invariably you ought to deploy the corresponding resources for people to deliver. Because I have argued that enthusiasm alone doesn't grow food. You need to have the wherewithal. So these are areas that we are looking at. We are even reconfiguring the Civil Service Act itself, which act was enacted in 1993, and thus far we are literally being overtaken by events. But the whole local government system is even sitting in our act currently. We need to reconfigure. We need to really institutionalize our performance management systems. And we are taking seriously the issue of performance management and performance appraisals. And I can tell you that we have gone digital on some of these matters, like the electronic staff performance appraisal, which appraisal system has two major objectives. How do you peak performance? So it's a performance enhancing mechanism, and also provides us a scientific basis to want to see who can progress to the next grade among others. So it's not an open sesame, it's not a wholesale, but at least there must be scientific basis of that. And thus far, compliance levels are hitting about 93%.
Okay.
The highest that we've had in terms of people completing. We don't have a situation where people will just fill the appraisal when they just want to go for promotion and so on. It's all scientific. Okay. So targets are set together with their supervisors, very critical scientific targets. We have opportunity to review mid-year, and then of course at the end of the year you come and account for your stewardship. And we have that below the deputy directors and below. For the directors and chief directors, we have performance appraisal systems, which appraisal systems are evaluated every year at the end of the year. And then where there are gaps, competency gaps, that will find expression in the training program that a particular ministry or institution will craft to help build their capacity and so on. We are reconfiguring the ministerial enclave to make sure that at least the work environment is important. We're changing tools that will help us do the digitalization I'm talking about. We are putting in place even a counseling unit, a professional counseling unit. We want to share information with people, right? But there are some friends you share information, we are better off going to BBC or perhaps Joy to announce. We want professional group that can offer professional advice. Some backstopping for our people in that regard. A number of reforms have been undertaken to reduce costs and make our people much more resilient and much more versatile in the service delivery that they have. We have client service charters. Okay. And those client service charters has service delivery standards. And we encourage the people also to give us feedback, which feedback will then help us to reconfigure the way we serve people. Because our focus is that we want our service, our civil service staff and our civil servants to treat the service as a corporate entity where the ownership is vested in all of them. And we are vesting this in all of us so that we can deliver good quality service. And that is what will continue to make us critical in the development.
I need to wrap up this interview in 1 minute, but let me give you the opportunity to talk about the Civil Service Week, which I think starts on Wednesday, right?
Yes.
What is it all about? I hope it's not one of the fun fairs. Of actually
the fun fairs, who's a fun fairs?
Fun fairs that we see in the public service.
Yeah, so Aisha, thank you very much. The service, in the Civil Service Act, we are encouraged to identify people who are high flyers, who have performed in a particular year, and award them. How do you do that? We need to provide a contest. It's something that was jettisoned for some time. It was in abeyance for over a decade. But we reactivated that in 2019. It's a whole week activity. And what we are looking at is that how do we re-engage with our public? Because that is important for the feedback that you will get. So this year, the theme is trying to look at our sub-regional security, peace and security. And we are saying that combating threat to sub-regional peace and security, the perspective of the civil service. Our focus is that if we promote good governance, and democracy will make meaning or will make sense to the people if we indeed address the fundamental needs of the people.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's a useless enterprise. Yeah. And so our major orientation is that how do we support a government so that the government can deliver on its mandate so that you and I can live in dignity? That way, when you give people hope, and when they know that you have provided the basic survivals, and they can save and they can invest, and you make the environment much more attractive, they are less susceptible to influence and manipulation, to enjoy rebels, and to want to destabilize the state.
Well,
this is what we are seeking.
Let me wish you well as you embark on this whole week activity, and I'm hoping that it will definitely bring about the changes that we are looking for.
Is what we are looking for.
Definitely. Dr. Evans Agredako, I'm grateful that you were able to make it.